Hello, the internet. How are you today? So it is 669 days until my husband turns 40, and we are hoping to get through a whole bunch of our goals by then, which honestly feels a little bit crazy, especially as we jump into the 660s. For some reason, the 700 days felt like, yeah, this is doable. A little bit of a stretch, but doable. And then the closer we get, the more I'm like, oh gosh, how are we going to do this? So, I suppose it's like anything God calls us to do. We just take one step at a time and move forward in faith, trusting that He will take care of any obstacles. So, sorry about last week. I did not get a vlog in. It was a really crazy week for us. There was a combination of, we had a ton of extra things on our schedule, which actually I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about today. So we had lots of things on our schedule, and we also started Whole30 last week. For those of you who are not familiar with Whole30, it's a diet specifically designed as a short-term 30-day diet to just kind of change your mindset about food and clean up your whole toxicity in your body, and expose any allergies you might have. So we are doing it primarily for the sake of my youngest daughter, but also to help with my autoimmune junk. So it's been interesting. That was part of what happened last week. I realized that we were doing Whole30, but I did not connect that to the fact that I would be cooking 2.5 hours a day. So that has severely eaten into my time. But hopefully next time it looks crazy and I won't be able to vlog. I'll be able to give you guys a heads up, either via Evan's vlog or, I don't know. I have no idea how to do that on YouTube. So if one of you guys knows, throw it in the comments down below. Let me know, because we're total newbies at this. Especially me, because I don't even really watch vlogs, whereas Evan actually does. So kind of knows a little bit of what he's doing. Anyway, so where are we at with our goals? Well, the health stuff, as I said, we're doing Whole30, and we're continuing to do the Wim Hof breathing, which I have definitely noticed on the days that we've missed it, that I don't feel as good. I just feel like I get a little congested, a little bit sore throaty, and yeah, so I feel like it's making a difference, even if I can't tell that it's making a difference. Other than that thing. I can't tell during the day, like, oh, I feel so energetic or so good, or even right afterwards, I don't feel amazing or anything like that. Which kind of makes me wonder if we're doing it right or not. But anyway, so we are continuing to do the Wim Hof breathing. We have not graduated to the cold exposure yet, but hopefully eventually here. It's a major stretch for me. I do not like cold, like at all. So yeah, I am kind of putting that off, mostly because I'm dreading it, but also because I don't want to add too many new health things at once. Then it's kind of difficult to tell which ones are working, which ones aren't. We're continuing to do Dr. John Bergman's sleep stuff, which he recommends only sleeping 6 to 6.5 hours of sleep a night. We're aiming between 6.5 and 7 hours per night because of some things that I read in the course of getting a sleep bonus together for our paid class. And yeah, it's definitely been interesting, and it's very different for me. I think I've shared this before on this vlog, but when I first got sick, my doctor told me I needed to be sleeping like 10 to 12 hours a night, which was completely not feasible for me. And later I found out that the primary issue was more my post-traumatic stress disorder and the fact that I couldn't sleep deeply enough. But now that I have made great strides in that arena, actually going to sleep, staying asleep, and waking up feeling okay. Still don't feel like my energy levels are amazing or anything, but I don't feel like I can't survive, which is how I felt before. So, progress. It's the small steps. It's the 2 steps forward, 1 step back that leads to actual progress. The tortoise that wins the race, right? That's where we're at with the health things. As far as the Epic Everyday class progress, we are continuing to work on that. We didn't have a lot of time last week, so unfortunately we didn't get very much done I had a lot of random things come up, which was odd. It definitely feels like it's becoming a pattern where every time I sit down to work on it, I get a phone call or, kid gets injured or something else comes up, which part of me is like, do I just need to put more barriers around my work time when I'm working on that, or is there something else going on? I don't know. But we are continuing to press on. I was hoping to have the class done and launched by the end of February, but that is looking completely not feasible at this point. So we're just going to keep moving forward and see where we're at. Hopefully, definitely by the end of March, right? I mean, we don't have that much left to do. I guess we'll see. Who knows what could come up in between now and then. So where am I at with my other writing? Continuing to work on my Women in Ministry book. I went through and did a word study of Ezer. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but it's the word used where God describes the woman in Genesis 2. So God says that he's going to make a suitable helper for Adam, and Ezer is the word for helper. So I've been studying that in particular because it's a thread that I want to pull through my whole book. And that was a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. So I finished that up, and now I'm kind of just trying to figure out what to do next. I think I'm probably going to go back to doing my individual women profiles of women in the Bible. I was looking at Junia today. She's a fascinating woman. But we shall see. As far as my Pride and Prejudice writing goes, I finished my 5,000 words this week, so that was nice. Well, not this week, last week. We shall see where I end up this week. Hopefully at least 5,000 words, if not 6,000. It's definitely a work in progress. But I'm hoping to be able to actually write a lot faster by the end of this year. That's one of my goals, is to be able to write 4,000 words an hour instead of my current 2,000 words an hour-ish. I was going to look on my phone and give you guys the exact number, but shockingly enough, I can't record my vlog and look at my Writeomete, which is, I'm so happy I was able to get that program. I had it several years ago, and I loved it. And then when I went to Apple temporarily and had an iPhone, which I really hated, but had an iPhone for a little while, a couple years, and then I came back to Android. Finally, my iPhone died, and I was so excited, and I was so excited to have Writeomete again, and it wasn't in the Play Store. So I ended up finding another place I could get it. But it's a great writing app if you ever want to keep track of your words per minute, or just how much writing you're doing in general. It's a little sassy. It's pretty fun. So that's kind of where I'm at in the goals department. Thought I'd share with you guys some of my thoughts about margin this week. So as I said, last week was crazy town with us just going. I always know that I am way missing out on margin when I hit the, oh, if I got sick, I could just spend the day in bed, and how awesome would that be? Yeah, for me, that's a major warning flag. That's like, that you've been ignoring this warning light, so it switches from the quiet light to like the beep, beep, beep all the time. So, margin is one of our big things that we talk about in all over the place with Epic every day. Our podcast, our class, our paid class, our free class, like all that stuff. Because we believe that it is so important to have margin built into your life so that you're not constantly going. Because if you don't have time to reflect, you're never going to be able to grow. You're just going to be stuck in go mode. So margin is, for me, less something you attain and more something you maintain. It's like balance. If you have followed our podcast at all, you know that I love Tai Chi and that I use it all the time in my everyday life. In Tai Chi, we talk about how margin is, or balance is a process. It's where you're balanced in this foot, and then you're balanced in this foot, and then you're balanced in this foot, and you just repeat the process over and over again. And balance is this ongoing process. It's not that you're balanced once and then, yay, you're balanced for the rest of your life. It doesn't work that way. You have to work at it and be balanced in this moment, and then balanced in this moment, and then balanced in this moment. And I think margin is the same way. So sometimes life can be crazy. Sometimes you just end up having a lot on your schedule. It's less about, does your life occasionally get crazy, and more about, is your life crazy every day? Because if you have no margin built into your schedule on a consistent basis, you will be miserable and exhausted and overwhelmed all the time. I know, because I lived that way for a long time. And it has been being sick that's forced me to learn how to take a step back and listen to my body and recognize when I'm feeling too stressed and overwhelmed and need to just spend a day in bed. So yeah, margin is not impossible. And it's also not something anybody can be perfect at, because we live in the real world. So having a practice where you are intentionally aware of how much margin you have in your life, and practicing having more margin in your life, and then listening when your body says, hey, or when your emotions say, hey, maybe you need to take some downtime. Just so that you can be a more functional human being in general. Doesn't mean you're selfish or that you are not a good Christian or any of those kinds of things. It was something else that I had to work on. Anyway, that's my update for the week, and I will do my best to make sure that I update next week. I hope you guys have a great week. I will talk to you later.